my name is Kathleen, and I am going to be presenting you with a AR or accounts receivable overview tutorial, tips and tricks, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with our AR setup. And again, in the options, similar if you were joining me for the AP setup, what you can do is you can change any of your information here, your contact names and numbers. Make sure you save before you close anything. Processing, this is how your system is processing the AR transactions. You can change these options at any time. Again, make sure you save before you close anything. Transactions, here are your defaults basically, and again, the defaults are there just to help with efficiency and the time involved in doing your entry. So what you can do is you can, once this is set up, you can change things here, but you most likely, once this is set up, you would want to continue with it. Numbering, within the accounts payable module, here are the different document types that we will be using. And in this case, the invoice, I probably did change that because I found that everything here is 22 digits. 10 would be probably sufficient in my experience. If that is the case, you can always change the length here. Your prefix is here, but again, once this is set, you probably wouldn't want to change that for continuity. It's telling you, the system is telling you the next available document number for these documents. If you need to reset for any reason, you could do that here. Also, your next, the batch and posting sequence numbers are here for your review as well. So statement here, it's showing the aging periods and the messages given at every aging period. So it's basically, if you get up to 90 days, you may have this program to say we need your payment. You can change this at any time. Make sure you save. Retainage, again, if you're using retainage, you would set it up here, the percentage, the retention period. And then here is also the documents, how things are being processed in the system. You can change this. Make sure you save it though. So those are the basic options. Account sets. Again, this helps you with your efficiency in entering information. We can take a look at our trade account set, and you can see that we have set this up as this code description and all of the GL accounts associated with these functions within accounts receivable. So we have set that up. If you can look at other ones, if you needed to set up another account set code, you can do that at any time as well. Just click on the green plus mark, and then you can populate the empty screen, make sure you save and close. Billing cycles. So this is if you have, say, a bi-weekly or monthly billing cycle, you would set up this information on whoever has this billing cycle attached to their vendor record, and then you would put the information in regarding where they would remit to and so forth. Make sure if you change anything that you save that and close. Distribution codes, again, helps with the process of entering. So we have one here for desk sales. So if this distribution code is chosen, these are the revenue, inventory, cost of goods sold accounts that will be affected by using this within an invoice. So make sure if you change anything, you save and close. If you need to add a distribution code, you can do that here. Dunning messages, again, we did look at that in our billing cycles. So for instance, here's the default. It's basically if your account is current and you've paid, this is the message that will print on your statement, as well as at these aging periods, what would print. You can change these, make sure you save. Or if you wanted to set up another group of messages, you could do that as well. The interest profile, again, if you need to apply interest for your retail portion, and if you wanted to set this up, it's basically where it's being coded to as far as the GL account, the number of days in which it will be applied to the account. And because this is a multi-currency company, we're showing the different currencies and the amounts that will be charged. So we can save that if anything has changed, or if you're creating a new interest profile, you can do that. Make sure you close, save before you close. Payment codes. And again, these are how people are, or your customers are paying you. So these are the different ways that you accept payment. So if we wanted to look at check, which is still popular, but not becoming as popular as the EFT and e-transfers and so forth. But in this case, you would have check, and then the payment type that it's associated with. So these are the general payment types. If you needed to update, make sure you save. Now, salesperson, this is a little, if you have salespeople in your company and they get commissions, you would then have these people set up in your system. And in this case, Bill is not set up with a rate right now, but if he was paid commission, say 2% across the board, then we could do that. But if we can also have different steps of commission. So if we decided he was going to get 2% to say $10,000, we could do that, and anything over 10,000 maybe 3%. And you can do that all the way until commission rate 5. So you can do that. You can make it inactive at any time. Make sure that because we did update this profile or the salesperson code, I'm going to save that before I close. So terms, again, we have similar terms set up as our payables, due on cash on delivery. Net 30 is a popular one. So if you needed to update that, or if you wanted to create, say, a net 45, you could do that and then fill in all your information and save. Items. So items, you can print invoices by a summary invoice or an itemized invoice. And it's not a true inventory system. You would have to definitely have that module added on. That would be an extra fee for that inventory. But here you can sell items by setting them up here. So you would basically have the item, the general ledger accounts that are associated with it, any comments, pricing. So again, because my sample company is a multi-currency company, we have these different amounts that are put in here for the pricing. Tax status. So here's the different tax authorities that could be used and the tax classes. And statistics. This is just statistics on this particular item number. So that is the amount sold. And of course, I don't have a lot of information in here because it is just a sample company, but you would have quick snapshot statistics on this particular item that you're selling in accounts receivable. So I'm going to close that. Comment types. In this case, we do have a comment type code set up. And this is just, you can add this to the account, say if their customer is in good standing and they are eligible for that 2% discount if they pay within 30 days, you can add that to their comments. And this is just actually setting up the comment code, but you can use that when adding to the vendor record. And then what you could do is you could review those comments. You could run a report and review them, and then apply discounts as necessary. So we'll close that. Email messages. Email messages are, if you're, for instance, in this case, we're sending out an invoice email, and this is just basically has your invoice attached to it, the invoice you've prepared for the customer. And here is the information here. Now, if you wanted to, that's the default. We have others there's the invoice email, statement email regarding, I guess, your basic and then your new customers. So we could look there and it says, thank you for choosing our company. Here's your first statement. Now, if you were to create one of these messages and you wanted to include these variable formulas, I can show you a list. So if you go to online help, you can go down to the email message variables link, and that will just take you to a screen. It should take you to a screen that shows you a listing of all of these formulas and how you can include them in your message. Sorry, the link doesn't seem to be working, but you can always go to the help screen and then review it here in the email message variables. If you've changed this in any way, save and then close. I do have a question here that I will try to address. Does the salesperson commission auto create a payroll entry in the payroll module, or can you choose it to auto create an entry in the payroll module? I'm not sure, but I can definitely get that answer for you and make sure that I send that to you. I'm not sure if it would auto create in the payroll. So Pradeep, if you could get maybe the email address, and we can get that question answered for sure. Okay, I'm going to close this here. Optional fields. Again, anything that's in this category, customers and so forth, here are the optional fields that are available within the data entry. If we wanted to do receipts, here is the optional fields that are shown in the data entry as well. Okay, GL integration. This is showing you just, again, the posting sequence and where we are in the posting sequence right now. Transaction type, source ledger. Of course, the transaction type in all the source ledger is accounts receivable subledger, and your source type, it probably, again, it would associate with most likely the prefix of the documents. So these numbers here. If you were to change anything here, make sure you save. Transactions, here are the transactions that are in the AR module. If you wanted to look at a transaction here, if you wanted to add more information, segment information to be included here, you can include, and then make sure you save and close. And then we'll close that. So that's the AR setup. And then of course the reports, AR setup reports, you can do reports on anything you've entered here. So if you wanted to look at your terms, you could review all the terms that have been set up. You can then print this. You could export it to a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet. You can also send it to a printer and print off this listing. And you can do that for every every one of the items here. This will show you exactly what you have inputted in the setup. So AR customers, setting up your customer information, you can set up customer groups. You can also set up national accounts if that is a thing for your company. You can do that, and it's just entering all the information, and then you would be entering the contact, processing, so forth information. Of course, your customer record is very important here, and here we can look at a customer record that we have on already set up. We have Mr. Ronald Black in my sample data here, and you can see that he does belong to a group code. Here's the contact or the address information. Contact is Mr. Black himself, and he's given an email. Processing, here is how you would process his information. It's all been set up, and it's associated with his customer account. So you can change any of this. Mr. Black has decided that he wants his invoice or accounts receivable documentation sent to him by mail. So that means we would be printing out a copy of that and sending it to him by mail. He can choose email, and you can be specific as to the company or the actual contact that is on file. And in this case, it's the same person. Again, if you change anything, remember to save. Invoicing, so this is another spot where you would, in the case of this customer, these salespeople are splitting the commission on these rates. So in this instance, Bill is getting 80% of the commission, and David is getting 20, and that's how it's been set up for this particular company or customer. Here you have price list, and you have the tax group, optional fields that are set up for use within the AR customer record, statistics. So when you're looking at the customer record, this will give you a quick count. And again, we don't have anything in here for this period simply because it's just sample data. Activity, it's a quick snapshot of your accounts payable. Your accounts receivable listing for this customer, just quick snapshot of where we are at when the last invoice was produced and so forth. Comments, and again, these are comments that can be automatically added to a record or a customer record, or you can add one manually. Credit cards, if you accept credit card payment and processing, you could have that information on hand as well. Customer inquiry is very similar to the customer activity level. You can bring up a certain customer, and you can have their information all in one page quickly. You can look through what's been processed. It's a very quick snapshot. Customer list, you can run this. Basically, depending criteria, you could run the whole thing, process it, will give you a customer list, and then you can you could even send that to a Excel spreadsheet. Ship to location, again, if there is a ship to, if there's a location other than the head office or the company address that it needs to be shipped to, you would set these up there. Recurring would be recurring charges, meaning invoicing that would be in this case, we have on-call service, and that is charged to on a weekly basis, and you would run those. You can actually create an invoice from here as well. So you can do that and have that information. EFT customers, if you use the EFT module or like a third-party add-on module, you would enter the information, their banking information that would process for an EFT file that would be sent to the bank. So you would put all the information in there. Customer reports, again, everything you've put in customers, you can run a report on. You can print, export to PDF or Excel if you want. So transactions, if you're entering invoices, you can do so here by the invoice batch or the invoice entry. It basically depends on your credentials. If you are not in the invoice batch, you can see you can post and delete and so forth. In the invoice entry, it's straight entry. So it's depending on your credentials. Now, once people enter in the invoice entry, it will show up here. So if you are the person that is posting the batches, you can then review and post the batches from the AR batch list, invoice batch list. Receipts, again, this is part of the AR functions as far as here I have one set up for today that we have paid. We are going to pay Coastal Electric. And in this case, I had on selection mode. And when you have on selection mode, you can hit this icon here, and then it will populate all of the items or documents, AR documents that are ready to be used or paid. And in this case, it was $295.62 is the receipt amount received. It was an online payment, and you can put a reference number in here if you have a reference number from your like your banking portal gives you an EFT number or something, or an e-transfer number. And I have chosen all these invoices to be paid, and I can save and close that, and that is now we've accepted that payment for those invoices. Receipt inquiry, it's just a quick snapshot of looking at maybe a certain bank or a certain customer, or even a range of customers, and then you can pick what you want to look at, and you can open it and review and just see how that was entered into the system. Quick receipt, that is very, it is quickly getting in the information so you can print a deposit slip to take to the bank. You can come back at a later time and then actually process the payment to the AR or the customer account. This is just so you can quickly head off to the bank if you have been set up to print out deposit slips. Adjustment batch, this is again, you can see some of the adjustments that we have in our sample company here. And so you would just enter the adjustment, what document it applies to. If there's any optional fields, you would make sure that you would fill that out if it is applies to this document. Make sure you save and close. And again, like everything in Sage Intacct, it can be done through the entry screen or the batch list screen. It depends on your credentials. And as well as the refund entry. And refund is if a customer has overpaid you or you're refunding them for some reason, you would then do that in this screen. You would have to enter a customer. Sorry, first of all, you would have to add a batch and enter a customer. We look at Mr. Ronald Black. We see that I don't know if he has any outstanding. He doesn't at this point, or payments. If we wanted to, yes, if we wanted to associate it with a certain document, we can bring that in and make sure that you put in the actual amount. Well, that's not working out for me. So then what you could do is you can make this either a check payment or a cash payment. Most likely it would be a check payment. In this case, what you would do is you would, you can print the check right from here. And the unique thing about refund entry in AR transactions is you don't have to go to bank services and void the check there, you can void it directly here, and that's all you have to do. So make sure you add, save, close. And what we're going to do is delete this. Refund must be greater than 0. No. Okay. Refund inquiry, same thing. You can just look up refunds. If at the end of the day you wanted to post batches, instead of doing it along the way, you could do post your batches in a range of them, all the batches, depending on the batch type as well. You can post them at the end of the day if you choose to. Document inquiry, the same as other inquiries. You can find the document you want information on, and it's in a concise area. You can have all the information regarding this document. Credit card processing, we're really not going to touch on that because you would have to be involved with the credit card processing through Sage in order to use this functionality. So customer number change, we're not going to touch on that as well because it is something that you wouldn't use very often. I would want you to read up on the help information regarding that. But that is if a customer change is bought out by another company, you can then change the customer number and the name, but you're keeping the history of that customer prior to that buyout. So you can see their history just for continuity, how they spend or how they purchase from you and so forth. As well as if they were to merge, 2 of your customers may be merged into one company, you can then retain that history and change the customer number and name. So once again, that is kind of a quick version of accounts receivable. If there's any questions that we haven't addressed, please feel free to reach out and we can get those answered for you. I really appreciate you joining me today. So unless there's any questions, I'll wish you a great afternoon.